I got cut off, I apologize, at review of systems. These videos are only 15 minutes long, and when you get to the end, you're done. I wasn't paying attention to my time, so I apologize. Remember, the review of system is generally a question and answer. It's a yes and no type conversation. There is no touchy-feely, no physical touching. That would be the examination. So they go through, and I'm looking at page 271 now, the history levels. And here's some terms that we hear in all levels, and you'll see them on the screen in a minute too. Problem-focused, expanded problem-focused, detailed, and comprehensive. And that doesn't need to mean a lot to you yet, but you need to recognize those terms as being a level, okay? One of these three levels. They're descriptors. We could say an expanded problem-focused history, a detailed examination, and a comprehensive medical decision-making, okay? All of those terms I used came from those levels there underneath the history levels: problem-focused, expanded problem-focused, detailed, and comprehensive. And those aren't just under history, they're throughout the history exam and medical decision-making, as we'll see. If you look at the first exercise 11-2 history levels, it says, using your CPT manual, locate this subsection, new patient, and identify the history levels of any of these codes. And so they want us to find 99201, 02, 03, 04, and 05. Okay. Remember, CPT codes are always going to be numeric, no alphabetic letters in there anywhere. And they're always going to be 5 digits long. If we looked at 99201, you would see that your history level was problem-focused. You could go on with those. The answers are in the back of your book for you. So if you want to use that for added help, that's wonderful. Examination, okay, that's our second 3 key component there that's listed. And again, we see those same terms: problem-focused, expanded problem-focused, detailed, and comprehensive. Okay. There's an exercise 11-3 that wants you to look up these codes and find the examination level. And again, you can find the answers in your book for that. If you skip to medical decision making, those levels are listed there on page 278. And again, these are close but a little bit different. The levels of decision making are straightforward, low complexity, moderate complexity, or high complexity, okay? And you can read more about those as well. One thing I want to talk about, I want to jump to page 284 in the lecture. And page 284 is also where we find the heading a few pages back that says Contributory Factors. You can pause me if you need to find it. Contributory Factors. What I can say about what's on your screen right now is we need to know these things to find the right code, right? The first set of digits or information there was the place of service. Where am I? What am I doing? What type of service? And what's the patient status? Are they new or established? Are they inpatient, outpatient? I need to know those things to find my right code. Once I get to the area that I'm supposed to be in your big code book, lots of codes in it, once I got to narrow it down, right? You got to narrow it down. And once I'm in an area, I might have maybe 4 or 5 codes that it could be. Once I get to that area, I know that I'm in the clinic, it's a visit, and it's a new patient. Okay? There's going to be 4 or 5 codes for me now that are one of them is correct. Now I look at my levels, okay? What level of history, what level of exam, and what level of medical decision making, and then I can find my answer and move on to the next problem. Unless, there's always a kicker, unless there's a contributory factor, like on this page that it's talked about. You can read through these contributory factors, but I have some notes written in my textbook here on that page. And I say, number 1, these are based on time. And the little blurb or the rule about if you can code on time. We do not code based on how much time was spent with the patient unless there's a blurb, and it has to be in the note, and usually you find it at the bottom of the note. Unless 50% or more of the time spent with the patient today was in counseling and or coordination of care, then we can code on time. Okay, I'll say that again. If 50% of the visit or more was spent on counseling and or coordination of care, then we can code based on time. It says a little bit about that at the very bottom of the next page right across here on page 285. You'll always find it at the bottom of the report. The whole note, okay, the whole document or the report for that day, SOAP note for that day, might be all filled in, and at the very bottom it could say, over 50% of our 15-minute visit today was spent in counseling and or coordination care, talking about the patient's current depression state and about the fact that she's going to reach out to a counselor by this afternoon and get back to me on, what she finds out from her results. There was no physical. There wasn't a lot of history. There was just talking. Sometimes we have patients that come in, and maybe we've been that patient before. We just need to talk about something, get some advice, something like that. That's when this comes in and is part of the kicker when finding a code, okay? So we know we have to find our levels to find our code, except in the cases where time is documented, okay? And again, if it's not documented, it is not done, all right? From here on out, I want to go quickly to the Cpt book. The rest of the chapter here, we could go through each section in the textbook, but why wouldn't we just do it in our code book so we know what we're looking at, okay? We don't need to look at pictures, we can look at the code book. So if you open up your CPT code book, the very first section that we're doing this semester and the very first section in your book is E&M services, evaluation and management. And if you'll notice, right inside of your front cover, there are tabs. Okay, these colored tabs here, you can pull off. There's one that says E&M. It's red. Okay, you can pull it off, and I would stick it right at the top of page 11 in my CPT book. Hold this up so you can see it. I put the sticker, see how it sticks out there? Right at level with that little white mark. That way it staggers it through and they don't all overlap. And it says E&M. So it's easy to open up to that area. Okay. This is where E&M starts, that page 11. If you'll notice, the guidelines are listed right in front of it. A bunch of green pages. You see they're all green. Okay. There is guidelines in front of each and every section in CPT. We've talked about that before. So it might be something that you want to look through. For purposes of this video, let's look right away at office or other outpatient services. That's listed first in our E&M section. You can see the red heading there that says new patient. Okay. Under new patient, 99201, 202, 203, 204, and 205 are our codes to pick from. So if we are in the office and it's a new patient visit, these are the codes that we get to pick from. And then we need to find our levels. And as you can see, we made note on these. If you didn't read the E&M notes video or watch it, you will make note of these. We need 3 of 3 key components noted. So we need to make and meet or exceed the level of history, meet or exceed the level of examination, and meet or exceed the level of medical decision making for office or other outpatient services or visits for new patient. Then if you turn the page, you can see established patient. Here are codes. For established patient, we're still in the office, okay? Next to 99211, that's a nurse only. Sometimes we use those for blood pressure checks and things like that. The next big green heading is hospital observation services, and you can see the subheadings underneath there in red. Hospital inpatient services, if we keep turning pages, is our next big green heading, and then our subsections underneath that. Consultations are listed, and under consultations, we have office or other outpatient consultations. You can have a consultation in the doctor's office, and you can have a consultation when you're in the hospital. There's inpatient consultations there, as you can see too. If we look back at these, and it's just as easy to turn right back to page 11 and 12 at the new patient and established patient codes for doctor's visits or office visits. Do you see in bold the bullets underneath? Underneath each code, there's a description, and then the 3 key components are listed there, just like they are on my screen. The history, the exam, and the medical decision making. So say for code 99204, a comprehensive history, a comprehensive examination, and medical decision making is moderate complexity. If those are the levels that your workbook gives you for that problem, your answer is 99204. If you know those first 3 questions, I'm in the clinic, place of service. Type of service, it's a visit, and the patient status, it's new. Okay? If I said, okay, and we're going to move back to the index here and figure out how to actually code. If you read a problem in your workbook that says, Mary came into the office today to speak with her doctor about her ongoing diabetes medication. I'm in the office. Type of service is a visit. Patient status. It didn't say she was new or established, but it said it's her ongoing diabetes medication. That would mean established, like she's talked to him about it before. So if we were in the clinic, needed a visit, and it was an established patient, I want you to go right in your very back purple area, which is your index. And I want you, this is all alphabetic, look in the E's. And the reason we're going to E's is we're going to look for evaluation and management. So towards the end of the E's, back in your index, you should be flipping through your book now, for evaluation and management. Okay, got to know your alphabet here. If you go to evaluation and management and you find that area, you're on page 936 in the index, way at the back. Underneath the evaluation and management there, that's kind of bold and in blue, we want to find office or other outpatient visits. We're in the clinic, right? So if we search underneath evaluation and management, you see office and other outpatient. And do you see 99201 to 99215? That's my code range. Anything in between those codes, because it's got that hyphen in the middle, can be my answer. So I go to 99201 to 99215. Put your hand in the place of that index so that you don't lose your spot. I was going to try to scan it down, but it won't. And find 99201. That's where it starts. So we flip all the way back to our front. And we really should be back at that page that we tabbed, page 11, 99201. You see 202, 03, 04, 05, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All of our codes are here. But what's the difference? New patient or established patient. If this was an established patient, now I know it's either 99211, 212, 213, 214, and 215. Okay, I have 5 codes that it could be. Now, next to 99211, in the notes video, it tells you this is a nurse only, and it says it does not even require the presence of a physician. We saw the doctor and talked about this diabetic medication. That was the example I made up, so we know it's not 99211. It's either going to be 212, 213, 214, and 215. See how we're narrowing it down as we go? Okay. When we look at 212, 213, 214, and 215, and they are hierarchical, they get heavier and more expensive kind of as we go. You see the only difference between these are their levels, right? You see their bold levels. Problem-focused history, it might be a detailed exam, it might be medical decision-making of high complexity. Focus on these levels as we start the next video. So I want you to be on page 12 and 13 in that area for these codes with my example. And I'm going to, since I'm going to run out of time, we're going to start the next example on how to actually find our code with this same example.